We'd like to welcome everyone for joining us this evening for an update on the status of California's physical fitness testing. I'm Patty Supay, the most recent past president of the California Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, and a member of CAPERD's Assessment Task Force. The information provided to you today comes from the CAPERD Assessment Task Force, who have been working consistently for the past 18 months on this issue. Also, we want to thank everyone that participated in our statewide survey on PFT testing last spring. The Assessment Task Force was formed to represent the field and to be a voice for the California teachers. As a member-driven organization, CAPERD is committed to sharing information and keeping you informed on key issues in the state. Your detailed responses to the survey questions provided us a clear perspective and have enabled us to develop focused recommendations which contribute to decision-making in Sacramento. The presentation is being recorded tonight and will be available later on CAPERD's YouTube channel. A link will be available on the CAPERD website. Please keep your microphones on mute during this presentation. Put any questions that you have in the chat. We will do our best to answer these if we can. Those questions that may need more discussion will be held to the end of the session. The presentation tonight is scheduled for 1 hour, and we will be happy to stay online at the end to answer additional questions. Now, I would like to turn this over to our co-chairs of our task force, Tanya Moore and Melissa Bittner.
Good evening, and thank you, Patty. At this time, I'd like to introduce the task force members and welcome you all to tonight's presentation. Tonight, we will provide a quick review of the conditions around physical fitness testing in California and share the work of the Assessment Task Force with you. So I'd like to introduce myself, Tanya Moore. I am a physical education and health coordinator for the Los Angeles County Office of Education, as well as the CAPERD president-elect. My co-chair is Dr. Melissa Bittner, who is an assistant professor at CSU Long Beach. And we have Dr. Deborah Patterson, who is a professor from CSU Fullerton. And we have Dr. David Dom, who is an assistant professor from San Jose State. And in addition, we have Diane Wilson Graham, who is the executive director for the California Physical Education Health Project. So as we look back to the previous 2 school years, we know that the physical fitness test was suspended in 2019, 2020 by the governor in an executive order related to COVID-19, along with other assessment programs in California schools that we usually take part in. The legislature suspended the physical fitness test in 2020 and 2021. This is a quick reminder, if we can mute ourselves, it's really critical. Thank you so much. So again, to meet school, Patty, make sure you're not muting me. So again, to meet schools' needs during the pandemic, this suspension took place. It is important to note that fitness testing was one of several assessment programs that were suspended, as well as many other parts of K through 12 education in California. These were all included in Senate Bill 820. So when we look back a little further to February of 2020, it was 3 elements that were noted to be of concern when talking about the physical fitness testing. This was prior to the pandemic. So the 3 areas of concern were, number 1, including students who identify as gender non-binary, particularly when we're talking about scoring and reporting with regards to fitness testing. As we know, FitnessGram uses 2 categories for gender identification, which include male and female only. Number 2, meeting the needs of students with disabilities to participate in all aspects of the fitness assessment process, including accessible test items, appropriate modifications, and scoring and reporting that is considered all-inclusive. Number 3, the common issues of bullying and body shaming that could be connected or associated to fitness testing. So when the concerns were first raised about fitness testing in February of 2020, legislative language proposed that the California Department of Education consult with experts regarding the purpose of physical fitness tests and the administration of the physical performance test. This language also was included in Senate Bill 820. And the process for this is now taking place. So we're going to share an update on this in just a few minutes.
Since March of 2020, the Assessment Task Force, we've been busy with a number of actions and key conversations. One of our goals is to keep CAPERD members informed, and we provided a series of email messages and webinars. In January of this year, we brought together a group of California stakeholders to share information and perspectives on next steps for fitness testing in California schools. In addition, we sought out researchers and others to learn more, share the work, and inform of our next steps. We met with researchers at UC Irvine, talked with American Heart Association, and explored some concepts with human kinetics and interactive health technologies. We started a relationship with the authors of Brockport Physical Fitness Test, which is a fitness test battery for youth 10 to 17. Brockport is designed for youth with and without disabilities and specifically aligns well with FitnessGram. We've been a part of the conversations around next steps for using Brockport with FitnessGram. While this has not yet been finalized, there still have been significant steps forward. We've also had conversations with FitnessGram about their interest in making adaptations to meet the needs expressed in California. One of their positions is on gender. They're aligned with the current position of some of the medical community, which is to recognize sex assigned at birth. For our next steps, we are finalizing recommendations to share with the physical fitness test panel of experts, and we'll talk more about this in a few minutes. And we will continue the conversations with the people at Brockport and FitnessGram, and of course, share this information that is helpful to the California physical education community.
Deborah, you're muted.
It was just going so well. So let's start over just a tad. So the information on this slide is really important. So for the school year 2021 and 22, the CDE has informed testing coordinators and posted this information on their website that the physical fitness test has not been suspended. Take a moment to read the notice. It is also important to note that makeup testing for the 2 years of suspension will not be required. You may access this information on the CDE website. So a few minutes ago, we talked about the legislative action that requires CDE to consult with experts and other stakeholders regarding the purpose and administration of the fitness test. That work is about to begin. A panel of experts has been assembled and will begin their work later this month. The panel includes 4 CAPERD members who have experience and expertise in teaching physical education and/or adapted physical education, experience as a district testing coordinator, experiences with leadership in our field, and university and research backgrounds. Other experts on the panel include those with expertise in gender and research related to physical fitness testing. At this time, no other information is available on the work of the expert panel. The panel will submit their recommendations to the legislature, the Department of Finance, and the State Board of Education within the year. And as been mentioned before, as more information is available, we will continue to inform CAPERD members. So let's talk a little bit about the process. Because the panel of experts will report to a number of decision-making bodies, we thought it would be important to review the decision-making process for physical fitness testing, which is the same of other assessment processes in California schools. It starts with the legislature, which developed legislation decades ago, which provided the mandates we have in place for all students in grades 5, 7, and 9 to participate in the testing program. The governor agrees with the proposal and signs the bill, or he or she vetoes the bill. If the proposal and bill is signed by the governor, it is added to the California Education Code. The State Board of Education has authority to make the decision of which test is used to fulfill the requirements outlined by the legislature. If changes will be made at any time going forward, this decision will be made by the State Board of Education. The California Department of Education provides leadership for physical fitness testing and communication with school districts. The CDE is charged with following the direction of the legislature and the State Board of Education. Local school districts implement the testing program in their schools and should work with both their assessment and instruction departments to address fitness testing. Schools make the decisions within parameters about when and how to implement the testing program and what to do with their student data. Teachers have important roles in each of the following: build strong connections between all parts of the fitness testing process with the learning and physical education and other subjects as possible. They're responsible for administering the test protocols correctly and take into consideration students' needs, such as privacy, confidentiality, accuracy, meaningful conversations about the results, and many more. They're also responsible to make connections between health-related fitness and physical activity and with overall health. They're also responsible to communicate with students and their families.
All right, thanks, Deb. So I'm going to talk about the survey results, at least from the million-mile view from the top. In the spring of this year, the task force sent out a survey to California physical education teachers regarding the number of factors related to physical fitness testing that were identified earlier in this presentation. We wanted to collect data from you all on those, what's happening in the field related to physical fitness testing. And we had over 1,000 responses, and you all, and I'm sure some of you responded to that survey. Thank you all, first of all, and thank you for providing a lot of very important information that I think, hopefully will be valuable as we continue to move forward with the process of sharing and disseminating the data and moving forward as a profession. Like I said, the responses are assisting us in many ways, including being able to write recommendations to share with the CDE and the expert panel that was discussed earlier. Here's a few examples of the valuable data that we're going to be using in the recommendations. First, meeting the needs of students with disabilities. The survey showed that there were very few teachers that were finding accommodations related to physical fitness testing within the students' IEPs and 504 plans that section just isn't included in those. So certainly there's a need for adapting fitness testing for students with disabilities, because all teachers need this information. This is important to include in the recommendations so that students with disabilities, their needs could be met. The second thing is that time and resources are needed for more effective testing. Many teachers indicated that they did not have enough time for fitness testing. The testing window is from February 1st to May 31st. However, districts often shorten the testing time for the time for testing due to other district scheduling issues. Again, another opportunity to share teacher and student needs for effective teaching practices by having more time. Third, the teachers also indicated in a variety of ways that there's a great need for professional development around issues related to fitness testing, such as limited or no opportunities for professional learning related to gender identity, around limited or no opportunities related to professional learning on test administration protocols or content knowledge, and many other topics that was very clear that there was a great need for professional development. Along with informing the recommendations to the CDE and the expert panel, the assessment task force is in the process of writing a couple journal articles related to the findings that will include a California perspective as well as a more broadly range perspective that will inform the work of other states who currently have fitness testing protocols, or maybe those that are looking into doing it. Additionally, this information will hopefully be presented at both the state CAPERD convention in March and the National Shape America convention in April. We have proposals out there. So we're looking to share this work in many different ways to reach a broad audience, because we believe there's a lot of valuable information that you all shared with us that's going to inform hopefully the future of physical fitness testing, both in California but abroad. Again, overall, the survey results are very valuable and revealed both systemic issues and needs as well as opportunities that we have within our field to make improvements in the way physical fitness testing is carried out in California schools. So to talk about some of so let's take a look at some of the systemic needs that were identified in the survey results. Responses indicated that there was a need for support, that the support for fitness testing is often limited, that knowledge and perceptions of the testing process could be more informed and supported in terms of both the value of the testing and the processes needed for successful implementation. Specifically, greater focus on manageable class sizes, equitable amounts of equipment to be able to facilitate testing, having instructional aids, and that's potentially connected with class sizes, and of course administrative support were all mentioned. It was also shared that decisions made by local and school districts related to fitness testing often fell short of what students and teachers needed. Some examples include not meeting the needs of students with disabilities by not having fitness testing as part of the IEP or 504 plans, lack of student choice within test items, and short testing windows as identified before. Survey results also indicated that teachers have needs in many areas that can be addressed through effective professional learning. Professional learning for successful fitness testing requires an approach that includes more than just test administration protocols. It was clear that there was a need for fitness content knowledge, and additionally, based on the survey results, we believe that professional learning should be ongoing, perhaps include some type of certification, and be widely available for educators to access. Survey responses also indicated the need for professional learning about testing results, as well as how to use the data with students at the school level and across school districts. Lastly, to be in line with state laws, there's a need for new policies, guidance, and support for implementing systems for gender non-binary scoring and reporting. And this will need to be provided to all who participate in the testing process when decisions are made to how California will address this. And now on to Diane to talk about the opportunities we have to grow as a profession related to fitness testing.
So a number of the responses to the survey displayed opportunities we as a physical education field to examine our practices and make meaningful adjustments. The work with this is shared with others for best results. Here's a few examples. Individually, we can take a careful look at how we're connecting fitness assessment with the learning and physical education. So the testing is learning-based versus testing-based. And we have every opportunity to ensure that the conditions under which testing occurs is supportive and respectful for each of our students. This includes privacy, accuracy, and commitment to a student-centered process. We also need to communicate our needs to district and school leaders and ask for their support and the things that we know will improve fitness testing at our schools. And we can commit to learning more. A number of the responses shed light on teacher content knowledge needs, as well as a need to understand the foundations of health-related fitness. Most certainly the Healthy Fitness Zone and the purpose of and expectations for the current test, the FitnessGram. We also have an opportunity to influence or collaborate with our colleagues when we're talking about FitnessGram and how the test is administered at our schools and also how it connects to our learning. Being able to have conversations where we review, discuss, and decide on guidelines and practices that need improvement could take us a long way in making some easy to make adjustments. We also have an opportunity to learn more, not only about the way we do the test, but the way we talk to our learners about the test, and to be able to move beyond traditional practices that have been in place in our departments and in our schools for a long time. We can also advance our work with communicating with parents and families about what the test is about, how it's administered, why it matters, and be responsive to their questions that they might have as well. In addition, we have opportunities to talk to school leaders about our needs. We have opportunities to share our concerns about often too short of testing windows, or the challenges that come when a single teacher is required to test so many students. We need to share with school leaders the value in sharing FitnessGram data with all faculty to help them understand the conditions of learning that are connected to health-related fitness and how that can help learners on both sides of that conversation. We need to invite people from our assessment and instruction offices at the district office to come watch fitness testing in action. A good number of them have never really seen it before. And being able to see it happen in a school setting is very helpful. And most importantly, we have an obligation to help everyone in education learn more about fitness testing, what it is, why it matters, and how it supports many parts of our students' education. So here are some questions. Go ahead, Patty.
Questions were collected when you registered for this webinar. As of today, these questions have been submitted, answered here. I'll give you a few minutes to read the questions and the answers. We will continue to share information with you via email and perhaps another webinar if it's needed. As of right now, we have a few minutes to respond to some additional questions, and you can ask those questions in the chat and we will be happy to answer them. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask a question, you're welcome to do that as well.
It looks like there's a question in the chat. It says, will we have a chance to do a practice PFT in the fall?
Practice fitness testing is the choice of the teacher. There are no guidelines or recommendations that come with the testing program for that. Many teachers utilize that opportunity to focus on students' understanding how to perform the test movements and to start the conversation with them about the value of fitness testing.
Another question says, are there more slides with questions and answers that were already submitted? We do not have slides with questions and answers that were submitted. We wrote down the questions that were submitted that were questions that were pertinent to this presentation today, and many of them were asked more than once. We did have a lot more questions within our actual survey. Those questions were way too many to be able to put into this presentation, but we would be happy to answer those if you are here today.
There's another question that says, can we start testing our 10th graders?
Testing of 10th graders is typically connected to exemptions for high school physical education and is at the purview of school districts. So to find out what your district's status is for this year would be a good idea to talk to your assessment office, and they should be able to answer those questions for you.
Here's another one, Diane, that says, my principal doesn't want us to make the students run because of mask. How will I be able to do the mile run?
Well, we know that testing won't begin until February at earliest, so it's hard to say what the conditions will be by then. There certainly can be some physical activity done now that isn't oppressive for students when wearing masks, and I think we'll have more information about masks and the actual testing environment as time goes on.
Here's another one. It says, I noticed that one of the slides said that you are involving stakeholders in the new PFT conversation. In regards to making the PFT more appropriate and inclusive for students who identify as non-binary, is the task force seeking out students who identify as non-binary and asking them what changes they would like to see or what could make the PFT better?
That hasn't been a part of the task force's work to date. We do know that the expert panel does include experts in gender, and we do know that those experts are connected to youth-based organizations who are likely to bring forward those thoughts and opinions and values.
Here's another question. So what do you do with a student at birth is male but identifies as female?
So the current policy at Cooper Institute is sex assigned at birth.
Are we going to be given suggestions or recommendations on how to test certain components of the PFT? For example, how to approach body weight. This can be a sensitive component for many of our students.
There's quite a bit of information available about those sensitivities with fitness testing. As you can see on the screen, we're putting together a reference sheet which includes all those pieces that can help teachers learn more about those particular pieces. So I'm sure that you'll be able to find some really good resources there.
In addition, our recommendations that we are putting forth to the CDE will be about professional development that we are hoping will help all teachers to be able to approach these areas, as we know that they are sensitive components, and we know that professional development for teachers and the administration of the test can help with some of those issues.
Another question is, are there going to be any changes to the fitness zone scores? For example, mile going to age instead of based on BMI?
For this year, no. I do know that there are plans for the Cooper Institute to come out with a new edition of the FitnessGram, but no changes as of this year.
Another question. So sex assigned at birth is what we will follow in the spring.
Yes, correct. That is the guidelines held by the Cooper Institute for FitnessGram.
And do we have a date for the new FitnessGram?
No, not yet. After speaking with Human Kinetics, they want to come out with it soon, but no specific date has been set forth yet.
I don't see any other questions in the chat. If we have any questions, make sure to add it to the chat or you can unmute yourself. Has the norms and everything for FitnessGram already been worked on?
For the new version of the FitnessGram, which will be coming out at some point soon, they are working on the validity and reliability of the new proposed tests. They have not been announced yet, and the new book has not, been published through Human Kinetics yet. So we're still using the current edition of FitnessGram as it is stated.
Another
As
question.
many of you can see, our president of Shape America has chimed in the chat to let us know that there's some good information in Shape America's appropriate and inappropriate practice related to fitness testing, and she has provided a link for you.
And there's a question asking if students are included as stakeholders. That question's been repeated a few times. So I'm not sure if they're talking about the CDE PFT panel of experts or if they're talking about stakeholders from our internal task force. It looks like David addressed it. So at this point, as Diane said, the CDE panel of experts does not have students as part of the panel of experts. However, the organizations that are part of it do specialize in youth and addressing issues with youth.
I forgot I had another thing I'm on right now.
Even if the FitnessGram changes, does that automatically change the California physical fitness test?
As we mentioned earlier, the California State Board of Education makes the decision as to which test California schools use. So depending on what happens with FitnessGram and the other potential changes, the State Board of Education will make the decision. So we're probably at least 1.5 years away from that action taking place based upon the expert panel's deadline to have their report out by November 2022.
Another question that came in the chat is how come we don't just push back the FitnessGram until the new FitnessGram is ready?
Validating tests take a long time. We'd be waiting around quite a while. I also see someone in the chat mentioned tested gross motor development. Yeah, it took several years to validate and norm tests. So we'd be on hold for a while. And again, ultimately, just to reiterate that, it's the California Department of Education who makes these decisions. CAPERD really doesn't have a lot of say in that outside we can express, our voice.
At this point, I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat unless we have any others that would like to unmute and ask questions or put it in the chat. We may be ending the end of our presentation.
I just wanted to mention to everyone that this task force from CAPERD, as I said before, is a voice of our members. And that is why we put out the survey. We do not make the decisions. We are lucky to have some of our task force members as a part of the CDE's panel of experts and bring back the recommendations that we have made. And that those recommendations have come from the survey that we put out and from the voices that we're hearing throughout the state of those that have concerns and your voices tonight. We cannot make decisions. We cannot make changes. We can't decide when the tests can be done, and we can't change the tests, which a lot of people asked in the survey. Can you change this test to this test? Why can't you make the mile run be based on age instead of BMI? All those questions are wonderful, but we don't have that power. Only the CDE does. We are just a voice of CAPERD, and we're bringing those voices to the CDE and letting them know what our members would like and what their thoughts and opinions are.
Thank you so much, Patty. It looks like we have a request if Deborah can clarify what she said about teacher responsibilities for the PFT.
Sure. So teachers have important roles in each of the following. Number one, they just have to build strong connections between all parts of the fitness testing process and see how all of that just works in with physical education and other subject areas as possible. So really taking, getting your kids excited and knowing why they're going through the fitness testing process. And that was something we saw on the survey. A lot of teachers didn't know how to motivate their students. And so having your students learn more about the foundation of, health and assessment and finding out where we are makes all the sense in the world. They're also responsible for to administer the test protocols correctly. So, the FitnessGram assessment has videos on their website, but also to practice how to administer the test correctly and take in consideration students' needs, such as the privacy, confidentiality, accuracy, meaningful conversations about the results, knowing if there's something on the 504 or IEP, and many more points that need to be making sure that they're in the best consideration of the students. And then we want teachers to we feel it's responsible for teachers to make connections between health-related physical fitness and physical activity with overall health. And then last, make connections between communicate with students and their families. So it's one thing just to test the students, but there needs to be accountability held by all. And the parents need to be informed, the administration, the students. It's a whole village that helps us educate these students in the need and the reason for performing these physical fitness tests. It's not just to make them, get tired and, not like physical education during the testing time. There are a lot of teachers, they set goals and they have the kids set goals and they really work on the individual assessment. It's health-related fitness. It's not focused on the skill-related fitness that's mostly genetic.
Thank you, Deborah. We do have some questions about clarification about the PFT panel of experts. I might be able to help answer that question. So the work of the PFT panel of experts will take place virtually. There are 5 meetings of the PFT panel of experts that will take place from October of this month, October 2021 through January of 2022. The dates are October 19th, 2021, November 9th, 2021, November 30th, December 14th, and January 18th. Additional meetings of subcommittees will focus on specific issues that may take place during the same time period and will be scheduled as needed. There are going to be break-off subcommittees, and experts will meet monthly from February through April to finalize the report for the California legislature. It looks like we had another question is asking if somebody wants to be involved in this task force, how do they get involved? Patty,
the only answer I can answer that we have not yet had additional members. It's something we can certainly discuss and see if that's necessary. At this point right now, we are waiting for information from CDE and see how they take our recommendations, and then we'll continue to plan meetings and move forward. But if you're interested in more information, I'm going to put my email in there. You're welcome to email me. And if we have an opportunity to bring more on board, we will certainly get a hold of you.
And it looks like that is all the questions that I see in the chat.
One last thing I do need to say is that We are planning to have an additional webinar. We don't know when that will be. We're going to wait until the first couple of meetings of the panel of experts to see if we have some additional information to share with you. In addition, we have some sessions planned at the CAPERD conference that will be held in February. So be on the lookout for the CAPERD conference and make sure that you attend, become a CAPERD member, attend our conference, and we will be presenting a lot more information then, as we hope to have a lot more information by then. Any additional questions? We want to thank everyone for attending today. This is being recorded. We will have it up, I'm not sure when yet, in the next couple of days on the CAPERD YouTube channel that you can review it again if you'd like.
Finally, we're
And
back.
Said, how far are you?
Just take
anyway, thank you, our task force members. We've worked hard for 18 months and want to let everybody know how much we appreciate the hard work that you've done. Let us know if you have any additional questions or concerns. And thank you for attending.